Welcome, all you surfing enthusiasts. This is Dan Nappy with the SoCal Surf, and we have gone long days and cold, rainy days without surf, and just hit and missing here and there, just running down and trying to catch a few waves in between the storms. Had a lot of rain and a lot of wind and a lot of cold, but today the sun came out and the waves came in. Because it's been really small, and when it's small at Huntington, it doesn't break at all. It just flops onto the shore. And so we've had some pretty sparse surfing in the last month or so. But it looks like it's coming back. We had some really good size today at Huntington. But the tide, and we have what is called a super tide or a super high tide. So it's about 7 feet, which means it's, in comparison, the jetties at Newport, the waves are breaking over the tops of them. And Seal Beach, the houses along the coast have to put sandbags out to keep the ocean out. And the street on Sunset Beach, the water comes up into the gutters and onto the street. That's how high it is. And so the waves don't break real good when the tide comes up high and the surf is small. But today the surf came in a little bit bigger. Because of the tide, we decided to go to the Newport. And so we were heading towards the pier, Blackie's they call it. And on the way, we saw a parking space near 34th Street. I think it was 31 to be exact. So we pulled in. It's always good to grab a parking space down there because they're sparse. If you go in the parking lot, you pay $1.50 or $1.75 an hour. But we were lucky to find one in the along the street, so pretty good. And so we started walking towards the sand, and then I looked to the right towards 36th Street, and I saw some pretty good-looking waves. I looked towards the left, towards the pier, and saw a lot more waves. And so we started walking towards the pier, but about, between 34 and, I don't know what it is, 29, between the two jetties, it's really the first jetty from the pier and then further north from there. So that's in the 30s. And so we stopped and looked for a minute, and it was breaking in between those two jetties. So we decided rather than go down and fight the crowd at the pier, there was really only 2 or 3 guys out between the jetties, so that's what we did. We went out in between there, and they were probably, like 3 to 4 foot, which is, faces are like shoulder high average, some smaller, a couple bigger here and there. And they were breaking, pretty much about 50 yards from the sand. And so it was pretty good. And so we paddled out there, and as we were paddling out, a couple people were coming in already. One girl had a bloody nose, and I thought, you need to go in. We don't need to attract predators, sharks. So I saw her a few minutes later on the sand, so that was good. The board must have come and hit her in the face or something, because it wasn't bad, but it was dripping blood out of her nose. So she went in, and then that just left 2 other guys. So it was 4 of us total between the jetties, and that lasted for about 30 minutes or so. And then close to 8 o'clock, some more people showed up, and then close to 9 o'clock, a few more people showed up. But overall, there was only, 2, 4, 6, 8, maybe 10 people to 15 between the jetties, and probably 2 or 3 close enough to have to decide which wave you're taking, But so it wasn't crowded at all, and the waves were good size. The only problem was, there wasn't. I'm not going to call it a problem. Let's call it a situation. As the waves would come in, the bigger sets would start to break a little bit further out and more of a crumbly type, and then it would hit the sandbar about halfway in and jack up higher. And so as long as you know that, you're in good shape. But if you don't know that, you're going to get surprised and you're going to get smashed. But we were okay. And first one I got was that very thing. It was a little farther outside, so it took off pretty slow. And then as I stood up and kind of pushed the nose down with my foot, dropped into the wave, and then it started to build up really good. And then started to get a nice little face on it. So I was going really fast down the line, and just really doing some real smooth turns off the top, and then a real deep, smooth bottom turn. It's been pretty bumpy, and so today being so smooth and glassy was just so fun to make those big turns in that really super soft water. and then just kind of reformed again towards the sand. And, it all happens within 50 yards. And so as the sand is coming up pretty quickly, you have to decide whether or not you want to take a shot at one more turn or get the heck out of that wave and avoid having to land on the sand, because it got shallow really quick. Because the tide being so high, it's up high on the edge of the sand, and it's breaking and actually rolling over the top of the berm. So you were getting waves going all the way over the top of the sand. I don't know if you can picture that in your mind, but coming over, and like as if you were sitting at the beach along the edge, the waves would come and you'd have to grab your towel and make a run for it. So the waves would come up over the edge, and so you had to jump off before that or pull out. So I pulled a sharp left turn and just fell off into the shallow water there. So most of the time I tried to pull out before I got too shallow. That worked out pretty good. And then I got caught inside only one time when the big sets came, but it wasn't bad. But they would come one after the other, so you duck dive, come up, paddle, duck dive, come up, paddle. So it was real quick. And then a break, and then you just shoot out and you're fine. It wasn't like Huntington where you have to paddle 100 yards to get out. Once you walk in, 10 or 15 yards, and then jump over a couple of waves and paddle a little bit, you're already 25 to 30 yards out already. So you only need 10 more yards to get outside. So, and except for the bigger sets, but those were kind of rare. I got one. Caught one of the bigger waves. I had a good chance to catch another one, and I was just looking at trying to decide if I was in the right spot and looking in and trying to decide, and then I just hesitated and I didn't turn quick enough, and it just went right past me. I thought, what an idiot I was. I could have got that. Would have been the wave of the day. It was just a perfect A-frame wave. I could have gone either way. It was a perfect left, and so I just hesitated enough to miss it, and that was dumb move. I agonized over that for a few minutes, but there was some other. I had plenty of good rides, so it wasn't like I didn't have any good surf. It was great surf today, and great sun. Sun came out, little spotty clouds here and there, but the sun makes it so much easier to tolerate that cold water. And I bought a little head wetsuit material. I don't know what they call them, but it's a hat that goes over your head and straps underneath your chin. And so it stays pretty secure. And so when you duck dive, you just put your face down and go in head first, and the water brushes over the top of it. Makes it a little more pleasant. It's not, not summer, but it does make it a little warmer. So great day at Newport Beach, between the jetties, the 30 and then in the 30s, we'll call. I think it was like 29 to 36, I think, somewhere in that area. And so the current wasn't real strong. Real nice day. When it's 3 to 4 foot at Newport, that's my opinion is the best surf at Newport is that. And when it gets a little bigger, it gets a little hairier because it breaks on that reef sandbar, and it gets could get a little scary. But that's for the real crazies and the real good surfers that like to go for that adrenaline rush. But 3 to 4, in my opinion, is the perfect size at Newport. So that is all. Just check out our sponsors, Merch Hero, nappyclothing.com, Swing Easy Hammocks, and, of course, TaskBullet.com. Appreciate you listening. See you soon. Hopefully we'll get back on our regular schedule with this surfing thing and do some more podcasting. It's fun. Thanks. Bye.